Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Donnie here from Passover Listings. Hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful week so far. It is Tuesday, so we got a little bit left, and we are going to be talking Pesach programs. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. I appreciate everybody. We're going to have a really, really fun interview today with another Pesach traveler, someone who has traveled to many different Passover programs all around the world and experienced many different programs and countries. And so it would be good to kind of get a sense of where to go this year for Pesach, what to pack this year for Pesach, what to expect as well. So we are going to wait for her to jump on in a couple minutes. And again, as always, we will always, answer any questions you guys have. If you guys want to reach out, still don't know where to go for Pesach, please reach out directly, and we will help you out, as we are helping out many, many people around the world. So here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Hello, Meghann.
Hello.
How are
So happy
you?
to be here with you. Doing
Yes,
great.
we got another two Schwartzes over here. Meghann Schwartz and
Yes,
Donnie
yes.
Schwartz. There you go.
When I saw you calling earlier, my kids are like, "What relative is that?" And I was like, "Just Annette Schwartz."
Exactly. So, okay, Meghann, where are you from? Let's start with where do you live?
I currently live in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay, so you live
So
in
I
Hollywood,
know
Florida.
I shouldn't say that I'm freezing here, but it did dip below 60 today, and I am really cold. So
Okay,
we are freezing now.
okay. You are breaking up a little bit. Meghann, can you hear us? You're breaking up a little bit. We're losing you on internet.
Okay, hopefully that'll be better.
There we go. Okay, so Meghann Schwartz, Hollywood, California, dipped below
Hollywood,
60
Florida.
today. Hollywood, Florida. And let's talk a little bit about, how many years. Let's talk Pesach. Let's jump right in, right? This is what people want
Let's
to
do
know.
it.
People want to hear the real and the raw, right? You've been going away for how many years to Pesach programs?
We've been going away, I would say, we started when my third was 2, so she's almost 12. So I would say
10 years.
we've been away 7 or 8 of the last 10 years.
Wow.
Maybe
Okay. So and
like 7, yeah.
every year of those 7, 8 years, have you switched it up, or have you kind of kept to the same programs?
Yeah, so we don't like to repeat things.
Okay.
I don't want to go to a location. We love to travel, so we don't want to go somewhere we've already been.
I love that.
So we always like to go somewhere new.
Yeah.
This year, we actually are staying with a program that we've done before, but they changed locations.
Right.
So we are going to join them again, but we don't, in general, like to do things twice.
Got it. No, that's very interesting because, we've interviewed a handful of Pesach travelers over the last couple of weeks. And, some of them just love staying with the same program year after year after year.
Yeah,
And
people
other
are
ones,
very loyal to their
very loyal.
programs.
But
I've
I'll tell you,
definitely learned that.
right.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, a lot of people out there, like yourself, really like to experience different countries and different cultures and different styles.
Yeah, so that's definitely the priority for us. We love to travel and explore.
Okay.
So often the venue is going to win out over the other things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's backtrack. 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Let's kind of give, maybe you can tell, where have you gone? Which programs have you been in the last 7, 8 years for people?
Sure. So our first time going away, we went to Israel, not to a program, but we stayed in Manila, so all the meals were included.
Okay.
So that was a unique experience, not a program, but having all your meals.
Okay.
Then we went to Whistler, Canada, with Pesach on a mountain.
On the mountain.
I know they're not in Whistler anymore. They've relocated.
They're in Arizona this year.
They run an amazing program. My kids learned to ski. It was awesome. We loved the program. The food was
Would you say
delicious.
that was
everything was great.
Would you say Pesach on the Mountain for you, was that like more of was that a high-end program? I know it was a smaller program, but it was very...
Which one?
The Whistler one. one, the Pesach on the
Yeah, so the
mountain, and that
year
was in
that we
Arizona.
went, they were in the Four Seasons in Whistler.
Yeah,
So being in the Four Seasons, it's very high end. It
yeah.
was the most impeccable service I think I've ever experienced at a program.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
Because they attract people who love physical activity, skiing,
yeah.
and adventure. I found there was a lot more salads and healthy food options, which I really enjoyed. That was
Great.
like a big plus for me. It was also a little bit of a smaller program, not
Hmm.
tiny, but it's not one of the large giant ones.
Right. I
So
think
I'm actually still friends with people I met
that's
on the
amazing.
Whistler program years
That's
ago.
amazing.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot. Everyone's still. I love that. I love when I hear that because it's
I
just
have
so.
so
It's
many
so cool.
friendships from the
It's
programs.
so
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so you went to Whistler, Pesach on the
Yeah.
mountain. This year they're
And then
actually in Arizona.
I
Keep
might
going.
go out of order now a little
That's
bit.
fine. Yeah, go ahead.
We
Yeah.
did Niagara Falls one year.
That
They don't run the program there
was
anymore.
in that was upscale
Yeah.
getaways when I think
It
they did
was,
it. Yeah,
we loved it. That was one
yeah,
of our favorites. Unfortunately, they don't do
yeah.
Niagara anymore, but they do run other
They
programs, and we had a great
actually
experience.
don't. They stopped. They
Oh,
don't do. Yeah, they do
well,
not
that's
do any.
insane.
Yeah,
We really
upscale
enjoyed
getaways.
them.
Yeah, they used to be in San Diego at the
Yep.
Rancho
Yep.
Bernardo. They stopped. Yeah, they don't do. Okay, so you really enjoyed Niagara. And then
We
what's the?
did the Westin Fort Lauderdale one year.
Was that
We
with
needed a,
Majestic?
with
Yeah.
Majestic. Yep.
Okay. How'd you
We
like?
did.
How'd you like that?
Um, I came with a 10-day-old baby, so I'm a little like
Okay.
not really sure what happened. I made a bris air of Pesach, and came
It flew
Cholamoid.
by.
Yeah, so it was great. It was on the beach. I didn't like leave my bed at all. I had a baby, so I don't have so much memory of that one.
Yeah.
But everyone enjoyed, so that
Yeah.
was good.
Okay.
We did one year overseas. We went to Portugal
Okay.
one year. I don't remember who
Were you
ran the program.
with Pesach in the Algarve or KNY maybe?
I
One of
think
those?
it was
KNY.
KNY,
Okay.
but I don't want to swear by
Okay.
that. It was in Kashkash. It was a very, we can talk about it if you want to do an hour later, the difference between European programs and American ones, because it was pretty
Yeah,
different.
you know what?
Um,
Okay, well,
sure.
let's finish because let's
Oh,
parking lot that.
sure.
But I'm
We did
curious your view
Lasco
on it.
and Turnberry, which is great.
Yes. How'd you like last? I was there
We
last year.
loved
How'd you
it.
like last
We're
year?
actually, funny fact,
Yeah.
the room I'm sitting in right
Yeah.
now used to be the Lasco's garage where they kept all of their storage stuff. When we toured the home, I was like, who's this family that has boxes of matzah in their garage?
Yeah.
So we actually bought their home. Funny
Wow.
story.
Okay.
We loved it. There's a water park, which is amazing. If you have kids who love water parks, there's a water park. They have a food trucks that park outside. So you don't have to actually go into a ballroom to eat during Cholamoid. You can
Yeah.
go to one of like 7 different food trucks.
Oh wow.
That was
Yeah.
incredible. All different kinds of food. They had ice cream, drinks, everything outside.
Yeah.
So you
No,
could just enjoy the pool and the water park. So that was
that water
amazing.
park was literally amazing for the
Yeah.
kids. I mean, they love. I mean, I actually I had a great time at the water park too.
Yeah.
Who's kidding? It was great.
Yeah.
And then you're right. Those food trucks out there too. And then they have this year actually they have one of my favorite bands there, Distant Cousins. I don't know if you heard of them, but they are
Yeah.
unbelievable.
They had
I'm
great night
kind of jealous.
entertainment.
Yeah.
The kids camp was great. Lasco really is a spectacular
Uh,
program.
cool.
We're big fans, not just because we
Okay.
know them, but
Yeah.
also. And then 2 years ago we did Diamond Club in Cancun.
Yep.
And
In Playa.
they run a fantastic program. We're actually going back this year. They moved to
Columbia.
Cartagena, Colombia. So we're actually going back with Diamond Club again this year.
Wow. That is amazing. So there's a lot to talk about here. I don't know where we're
Yes,
starting.
lots of
You know what? Let's go back to the question we have because
Sure.
I think this is actually a very big question everyone has, and it's all about European versus American programs. You've been to both.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Give us a couple differences between.
Sure. So the European ones, from my experience, they're a lot more affordable, especially compared to the bigger
Right.
programs in America.
Why is that? Why do you
So
think that is? Why are they-
so the one that we went to, first of all, there's not this. They're smaller.
Mhm.
That's number one. Number two is they don't all have like they don't bring in the entertainment.
Mhm.
So they don't have the big name
Okay.
performers. It's more local people or maybe a guest who has a skill.
Right.
There was still nice entertainment,
Right.
but it wasn't. Same thing with speakers.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't bring in big names, so they're cutting the cost a lot on the
Right.
entertainment
Okay.
portion.
So entertainment. What about
We
the food?
also we also found that the food And the kids camp programming, at least at the one we went to, it's not 24/7 of
Oh,
either. So there's meals.
okay.
The meals were delicious,
Hmm.
but they're more European. It's not the extravagant buffets
Right.
that you see at the American programs
Right.
or the Mexico, Cancun type programs.
Got it.
Um, there was not a 24-hour tea room on our program. There was
Hmm.
like snack time in the afternoon.
Okay.
So one thing I'll say
Yeah.
as a mom, and I'll say this really anywhere you go, I have some really picky children. I would really advise, and I didn't know this before I went to the program in Portugal. Thankfully, there was a family from New York who knew that there wasn't a big tea room and a lot of food.
Hmm.
And she brought an entire suitcase full of
Wow.
snacks. And she was
Wow.
very generous in
That's
sharing.
unbelievable.
So I
I,
would,
I've never heard someone bring a whole, backpack or
so it
luggage of
depends on the
snacks.
program you go to, but in some
Yeah.
European programs,
Wow.
I would advise, especially if you have kids
Yeah.
and especially if you have picky eaters,
Wow. Good
to
feedback.
bring
Good
things
piece
that
of
they love.
feedback.
And the truth is, I bring some things to the American programs as well, because the one of the
Okay.
worst things that happens when you travel is a hangry child, right? Like hungry, angry.
I
It's
agree.
just, it's not worth
Yeah.
it. Even the ones that have, if you have a picky eater or someone with
Yeah.
dietary needs,
Yeah.
the programs are very accommodating.
What about the crowds? Talk about, so you've been to both. Do you find the European crowds are a bit more religious? Did you find them to be more European, Israeli, like all walks? Like what were the crowds like
So
between the
in
two? American.
Portugal, we did have a lot of French and British.
Okay.
So I would say there were a lot of European. There
Mhm.
were American people like us who just wanted to explore
Yeah.
another country.
Yeah.
I have friends who went to Greece on a program. They just wanted to explore a different country. I
Right.
don't know if I would say a difference religious wise. I think it was just as much a mix of any other one I went to. Not everyone, especially large groups, are not going to Europe. I found because the
Yeah.
flights are expensive.
Right.
Even though the program might be more affordable, it's more challenging to get there.
Yeah.
So we didn't see like those big
Right.
groups, whereas you might see those in America. We're a
Got it.
group of 25.
Oh,
We go
wow.
we're four
Wow.
families.
Wow.
Um,
Okay. Okay. That's a lot of
that
rooms.
go.
So let's
Yeah,
talk about
sure.
traveling, right? You've gone away with 25 people. I mean, that's a lot of people. How do you? What's your advice to give people? How should people pack for Pesach?
Sure.
And what should they bring? Are there any like little secrets or advice that you would say, hey, you really should bring this. You really should bring that. Don't forget this. Don't forget that. What would you say
So
to
this
that?
is like one of my favorite questions. I love talking about packing. Okay, so for Pesach specifically, your kids are spending 3 months in school or 2 months learning about Pesach. So they're going to come home with all of their Haggadahs, their projects, all their activities. I put those straight into a suitcase because,
Oh,
yes, it's annoying to bring
thank you.
all this
I love
stuff.
that. I love that.
Thank
I
you.
didn't even think that. I'm like,
I
I'm
know
gonna
it's
say,
annoying. I don't like bringing things I don't need, but listen, Pesach is about the Seder. And the Seder nights can be challenging in programs, especially if you're in a ballroom, if you don't have a private room. There are ways, but letting the kids bring their
mm,
things, I find that to be very important.
I think that's great. And you know what I miss? I'll just say, I'll just jump in here for a
Sure.
minute. Is that I don't know if you experience this on programs, but I haven't found like programs. There's always like a kids dinner before the
Yes.
Seder, but I haven't had like. It would be great if there was like a kids Seder, like a little mini kids Seder.
So
How cool would that be for the
my
kids?
kids have
I
like
would.
never done that. They all like stay up
Right,
till 2 a.m. no matter
right.
how old
But
they are.
but
But
the thing
that's
is,
a really clever idea.
like I'm not talking about look the teenagers I get right, but I'm talking about
Like,
like you just mentioned the
let the little
4 year
kids have that
the little kids. They
experience.
want to experience. You want them to experience the Seder,
Yeah.
but they can't stay up.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? So I would love. That's one of the things that I would
You
love that.
actually reminded me of a funny story. When we were in Whistler, we had a bunch of little kids, and we brought down pillows like from our hotel room to use during the
Yeah.
Seder, which the staff thought was like really funny, but they rolled with it. By the end of the Seder, the floor in our room was covered in pillows, and all the kids
There you
were
go.
passed out,
There you go.
like
See,
all over them.
that's
I
amazing.
just remember this. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah, so
lot of things.
definitely I would say to bring your kids stuff. In terms of Haggadahs, sitters, Sfarim books, there will be prayer books, there will be Haggadahs. But if you have one that you like, if a kid has
Hmm.
one, if your spouse has one, I'd say it's worth the extra weight. Bring
Yeah.
those too.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to make it feel like home or
Yeah.
make the holiday feel more special to you, I would say bring that.
Love it.
Um,
So let's talk about,
yeah,
let's actually kind of go a little bit back here.
sure.
A lot of a lot of people go away for Pesach and to Pesach programs. Over 150,000 people travel for Pesach.
Wow.
How can you? What would be your advice? For someone who's gone away to like 5, 6, 7 programs right over the last 7, 8 years, and have kind of changed it up. You've had to research tons of different things when you go before you're going away, right? Because you want to make sure you're spending your money on the right program, on the right requirements, your must-haves, your nice-to-haves, everything, right? What advice would you give people who are looking to find a Pesach program, but doesn't necessarily know how to do it? Like,
Sure.
what advice would you give them?
So, like I said, we always start with location.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to stay in the U.S., if you want to be on a beach, if you want to, decide where you
Yeah,
want to be. That's partially where to start.
I agree.
And then, like I have 6 kids, ages 3 to
Yep.
15. So for me, especially for the younger kids, a full day camp is really important. Um, because not just like so I
What do
can have
you
a
mean
break, but
by
that's how they enjoy.
when you say
Like
full day camp? I just want to make sure.
a 9 to 5, or like there is something
Right.
every day for kids.
Okay.
Not necessarily. Some have night programming, some don't. But that, like, especially for my like 3 and 5 year olds,
Yeah.
that there's going to be something for them to
Yeah.
do. Because I also want a little bit of a break. I love spending time with my family, and often on Holomoid, our kids don't go to the camps.
Yeah.
They come with us on whatever outings or excursions
Yeah.
we're doing. But in terms of like on Yantif, like what else are they
Mm-hmm.
doing? So I definitely will always, if you have kids, finding out what kind of camp and
Mm-hmm.
activities there is at the program. Because some definitely do have more than others.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think
I
you're right.
would say when it comes to like the crowd, every program's a mix. Right? Some might lean a little bit more modern, some might lean a little bit more to the right. There are definitely some that are much more to the right. Those are the ones that are going to have separate swimming hours, like
Yeah.
advertised as like a benefit. That's one way you'll know.
Right.
But it's pretty much a mix everywhere you go, and that's the
Yeah.
beauty. Like I
Yeah.
think that's one of the beauties of Pesach is meeting people from all different backgrounds.
Yeah. No, I think you hit on it now. I think everyone asks, like, how do you know if one's more to the right, more to the left? I think if programs are offering or has, separate swimming, you can kind of guess, right?
Yeah,
Where
that's like I think like an easy indicator, like
very easy
just looking
indicator.
at the
There's other
descriptions.
people
Yeah,
that say if the program has shmura matzah, is that an indicator? I don't
they
know.
all have
That's
shmura
yeah, they
matzah.
all have
And
shmura
by the way,
matzah.
just so you know, if we request to have hand shmura on our table at every meal, every program has honored that request. So if you have a request like that, just let them know. And when you're at a program, your servers like they want to help you. They
I think
want to serve you.
I think it
So like
depends.
they knew to have chocolate milk on our table every
Yeah.
morning. Like they knew the kids wanted it.
Listen, you've definitely gone to some really really nice programs. Let me tell you, but I think it does depend on the
Okay,
program,
fine,
frankly.
sure.
In terms of that, let's just say that. So, but no, I think you're right. I think always ask the questions. I think another big piece of advice that I always give people is really read the reviews. There's a lot of like forums out there, people who are kind of like really want to give you yourself love to give back and talk about like how was Lasco, how was Whistler, how was right. Find out who these people are who are running the program, how long they've been running for it, things like that. It's very important, right? Because you don't want to hear. I mean, look, as much as you want to hear from the program operators how amazing it is, you really want to hear from real
Yeah, because
people who've actually
they're selling their programs. They want you to come.
exactly.
I mean, I'm so grateful to Passover listings, to the Facebook group. People are really giving honest opinions. And I think it's so important. I think if you've been on a program, share that experience. I have friends who unfortunately ended up in a horrific experience one year. And it really,
That's
it not just ruined Pesach, it was a really bad experience on so many
listen,
levels.
and
And I
that's
wouldn't
why.
want that to happen to
Yeah, listen,
anyone.
you're spending tens of thousands of dollars, on people are saving for Pesach
Yes.
all year around. This is a luxury vacation that you're going out with, and you want to make sure you're not, that these are going towards really solid, programs and things like that.
I just saw in the question someone asked about Saturday programs. You're the expert more than I am, but I will say that Lasco, does have a Sephardi minyan. They have a Sephardi rabbi and a Sephardi minyan, and there were a lot of Sephardim on the program,
Glasgow
especially
did
being in South
have a lot
Florida.
of part of Israel, 100%. I think, one that actually just launched this week is a Kitnio program for, very focused on Spartan.
Fascinating.
Beautiful, beautiful program in Mexico called Sabre Travel. It's on Passover listings. So whoever asked that question, you go to passoverlistings.com and you'll see it right up front. Sabre Travel is the name. They just launched a high-end program and looks beautiful. I mean, the hotel is
Cool.
totally, you can take a peek at that. Um, but yeah, I think we're getting a bunch of questions here. Do people buy crypto on these programs? The funny thing is, I wonder if programs would accept crypto as a currency. Right now, like there's always this issue of
They only want
credit
payment
cards,
transfers. That's all they want.
credit cards versus wire and everything. But
Yeah.
who knows? I'm sure there's going to be a program the next 3 years saying, hey, you can pay me in Bitcoin. We'll see. That would
There
be
was
hilarious.
actually an article. I think you posted it on Instagram
Yeah,
about making money on a Passover program?
yeah,
Because, and it's true, I've made like business connections. I've met people on programs that I've stayed in touch with, um, and had to ask things. It's really amazing the people that you
yes.
meet and the kind of things that come up on programs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. So let's talk about like the things that come up. I mean, obviously, look, every year, and God forbid this happens this year. I mean, you want to see successful programs. You want to see improvement on the programs. You want to have fun. You want to have a good time. You don't want anything bad to happen on the programs or even before. You want to make sure they run very well, right? But every year, there's always things. What is the story that you can relate to that a good memory, a positive memory of something that like you can think of that like this is why you go on programs. What is that like one thing where like is it maybe it's not the food, maybe it's not, but what's like something like that meaningful to you that says I'm going away every year, like I'm not looking back, I'm continuing. This is something I
Yeah,
love.
I'll be totally honest, and it's a really great question. All things being equal, I'd probably want to stay home. I love to cook. I love making Pesach, but here's why we go away. It's because my husband, we live here in Florida. My husband's sister lives in LA, and two first cousins live in Philadelphia. So if we want to spend time together, this is the only way to do it. All of our kids are on vacation, so it's impossible to find any time during the year
Yeah,
to get together.
yeah,
So our kids are all on vacation, and we're 25 people.
yeah,
So we don't fit in any of our homes. So that's why we do, to be able to go together, for my kids to get to know their second cousins,
love it.
for me to spend time with my husband's family, like that's
I
why we do it.
love that
And
answer.
and I think that's why, listen, I'll be honest, having a break is really nice also.
Yeah,
Not having to cook, not having to serve, having that opportunity. And I'll tell you, for my kids, especially my older girls in high school, they are in touch with kids that they met on programs.
oh yeah,
So it's really fun for them to be able to, go on a summer program, like, oh my gosh, we were on the
yeah,
same Pesach program, or to be in touch and talk to girls that they met, 2 years ago in Cancun.
yeah,
And also to meet people from all over the world.
yeah.
We met someone on 2 years ago who's Dutch. They wait 1 hour after meat to milk. I always wanted to meet a Dutch person who did that,
That's all.
and like we met him, and like it was really cool.
That's
So, but really
amazing.
for us, it's the time with
Love it.
family, because there's really no, and we're so fortunate that we have the means to do it. Like you said, we've been on some high end programs, and we're very fortunate that we're able to do this.
Yeah,
And I don't take that
yeah.
lightly, that
And
opportunity.
listen, I want to say one thing. I mean, first of all, there's two things. Number one, um, I think you hit it on the nail. I think this is really why really people go away. You could say the food and the hotel and not cook and clean. People go away for the memories. People go for the family and meet people. That's the key, right? Of why people go away. And I'll say, there's just so many different types of people, and there's so many different cultures. I remember last year when I was at Alaska, you're at these seders, and maybe you want a private seder, maybe you don't want a private seder, and you want to be amongst everybody. But you're seeing different people do different things, right? And you're kind of seeing like one person stand up on chairs and during the seder and I don't know, hit each other with some leaves,
Yeah.
stuff like that, which is maybe a Sephardi. I don't know. And then you see another, right? It's so great to see everyone coming together, and I think it's going to be great to see everyone come together this Pesach, especially with everything going on in this world as well, right? And just that unity and after.
I'll
So I
also say the omelet bar and the pizza bar also are definitely
the omelet
reasons
bar,
to go.
right? The omelet bar, the pizza bar, They have this ice cream thing as well. That's really cool. That that scraper thing where they roll it
Oh,
up and
the
everything.
rolled ice cream.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so good. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the food there, I'll tell you, some of the food that I taste on Pesach, I'm like, is this really not chametz?
I know a
Like,
few
come on,
times we were
really?
like, where's the mashgiach? We have to have a conversation.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Persian culture. That was it, right? Not the
Yeah.
story. So let's end with this. I think Pesach's a wonderful holiday. You go away. And this is one thing I really want to tell people listening to this. Yes, you've gone to high end programs, but I do have to say this: there really is a program for everybody. There's over 100 programs this year, Pesach programs, all around the world. There's a program that's $4,000 for a couple, and there's a program that's $20,000 for a couple. Okay, price wise, all over the place. Religious wise, all over the place. In terms of amenities and locations, all over the place. So really, I think to your point, Meghann, I think you hit on the nail. Is narrow it down from location. Where do you want to go? What's your budget? And what are your must-haves? I don't think you're going to get every must-have, but you'll get, the exact things you want. You want a warm destination versus a cold destination, things like that. Really kind of narrow it down. And of course, if you need help, you can always reach out to Passover Listings, and we'll help you as we help many, many people throughout the year. Last thing we'll end with is, if you were, you're in the travel, right, business, right? You run a,
Yeah,
right, a travel
I
company.
run, it's called Yifei Nof. It's 5-day adventure trips for women
That's
out
amazing.
west. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
So
Thank
how
you.
would you, I guess for people, looking for travel trips, right? A lot of the questions we get is, making sure, you're safe and insurance. Like, do you recommend a lot of the insurance, travel insurance? Do you recommend, making sure that people are kind of taken care of on that side?
So I'm going to tell you honestly, we travel a lot. I have never purchased travel insurance.
Okay.
Um, but I will say the year we went to Cancun 2 years ago, my uncle decided to purchase it for all of us. And
Okay.
I did end up in the hospital. Everything is okay, but I did end up in the hospital. And I was so grateful that we had that travel insurance. So I still didn't buy it this time. So I don't know if I learned my lesson. But there is something to be said, for it. I would say that.
Good.
And while we're on just a medical conversation, um, I'll just say we had a medical issue. The year we were in Portugal, actually, we lost all medication for one of my children, and it's something that we needed. And we realized, like Erev Yantif, we didn't have it. Um, they were so helpful. The hotel connected us to a pharmacy, who connected us to so just like in traveling in general, I always encourage people, don't let a medical reason hold you back from traveling. Bring everything you need, bring medication,
Right.
but we're not, none of these programs, even I'm going to Cartagena, Colombia, they're
Yeah.
not third world countries. And anywhere in America, you can get what you need.
Yeah.
So I really encourage people not, and they're so willing to work with you. If you have a dietary need, a medical need. So I really encourage people to don't let that hold you back, from going and traveling.
Love it. Meghann Schwartz from Hollywood, Florida. Have a wonderful time at
Thanks. And
Diamond
thank you so
Club.
much for having me on.
Thank you so much for providing. This is great advice for people. I love it. I love talking to people who have been, year after year after year, and have kind of changed it up. You have a very interesting kind of story and where you've been, and I love it. So I hope you have a wonderful time
Thanks.
with your family.
Thank you. Have a great. Where are you going this year?
I am heading to Leisure Time Tours in the Evermore Resort in Orlando. I don't know if you heard of that. It was one. It's really cool actually what
I've
they're
heard of
doing this.
Orlando.
Yeah. So
Yes.
well, the Evermore Resort's really good. They have a man-made lagoon there, and what's nice about that is that your whole family—it's still a full-blown program, but your whole family's in flats, villas, or houses. But it's not a house-style program. Still a full-blown program
Oh,
with entertainment. You're needing a dining room, the whole thing, yeah, everything. But instead of kind of hotels, you're
that's
in a house. So it's
very
yeah.
cool.
I think it's going to be
I'd love
very
to hear about that. Okay, you'll have to let us know how it was.
absolutely, absolutely. Guys, thanks so much for joining. If you need any help, always reach out. 2 months left, 2.5 months left.
And
So,
I hope to see you all in Diamond Club.
yes,
I saw
Diamond Club, great.
someone here said they're going back to it. So,
Absolutely. Stay positive,
all
everybody.
right.
Thanks so much.
Have a good
All
night.
the best. You too. Take care.